go. All right, podcast number 9. We are live. In podcast number 8, we discussed meditation, psychedelics, of course, Joe Rogan entering the chat. And we finished off with a new subject that we're going to discuss today, which is scams, online scams. Robert, of course, is a producer. Myself, I'm a rapper. So we work online all the time. We use Instagram, DM to contact people. And we often get these messages from big companies, big rappers, big producers to hit you up with an opportunity, which is most of the time bullshit. So we're going to go over that whole process of getting scammed.
I'll back up right to really like the exact thing that happened to me. So the reason why I brought this up is I recently have been posting some of the music Bazes and I have been working on, and it's more just sync licensing, background music. He's playing guitar, I'm kind of doing the rest. And when I go and post on Instagram, I'll hashtag sync licensing. And ever since I started doing this, I believe it was about 7 companies contacted me. And like right away, I kind of just knew, I'm like, this is weird. It was a different business practice I've never seen before. And they were basically saying that we like your music and we charge for placements. And so if you're interested, send us your music. It costs however much for however many tracks I send them. And then they're claiming that it's a full refund. I clearly knew it was a scam. Basically, you know, we discussed in the last one that there is no shortage of music. I mean, these companies just randomly hit me up. Like, I kind of know how this world works. And basically, this part of the industry, there's tons of composers and producers flooding these sync licensing companies trying to get hired by them. So for them to be contacting me, that's just very strange. So, you know, I wanted to bring up like the scam parts of it. You've also experienced it on your end. Maybe you could kind of share your story.
Yeah, so what I get a lot is big rappers or mentors of rappers saying, it's their official account as well. So that's the weird thing. Like saying, hey, what's your budget? I can get you into pipelines of blogs, or, you know, look up who I made famous. And it's true. It's like it's a manager of some rapper. I don't know, but it's a big rapper. I don't listen to a lot of nowadays rap, only ones like NF or whatever. But I'm like, I will look it up and I will engage with them, but already know in the back of my head is going to be a scam, right? And the first thing they talk about is budget. That's a red flag.
Mm-hmm. It's a big red flag.
But I want to back it up even more, because it used to happen, but I think due to this pandemic that the whole live show business is gone, this is increasing to the rooftop. I mean, I have Fat Joe DMing me. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck would Fat Joe DM me?
Right.
I've seen the same thing with The Game. You've seen it with Royce, with this weird-ass company selling shit just to make money. It's weird. It is a weird industry as well. I get that. But I think it's just because the income and the streams are gone, basically. That they are approaching to these weird strategies or manners to get in money. So yeah, that's fucking weird.
And I think that you really pinpointed the important part of it, which is really like the influx happened when this pandemic hit. So I think it's pretty obvious to kind of like figure out what's going on, because like that would directly correlate with them losing money due to live shows, as you mentioned, and however else their income came in. I'm sure it was based on, you know, some sort of live shows or those type of things where they would have to draw in a bunch of crowd. That got taken from them. So when you think about that, like it's pretty obvious that they're going to have to go to the internet and ask their fans to come in and, you know, continue to purchase stuff from them. Well, that transitioned obviously into them like going and, I guess we could say, taking advantage of the up and coming artists and musicians out there, which is a very unfortunate thing. You know, like we're all struggling. Like, I think it also exposes another piece to the industry of like, a lot of people are faking it to make it type of thing. You know, they're looking rich, but they're not. And so like a lot of people in the industry are suffering, which is very sad on their part too. But like, you know, to turn around and scam the up and comers, that is just like the worst thing you could do in my mind. Like it's very bad.
Yeah, first of all, you're an asshole when you are scamming. And secondly, why would a big rapper or a big producer do that? We would think you've made it, you've made a lot of money, you got a lot of streaming, you did a lot of live shows in the past. Why do you need the scamming? That doesn't make any sense. Like if you have a debt or you're really desperate and you turn to a scam, it's still morally not right. But I could understand, you need to make money to survive for yourself. But a big rapper, like, I don't get it. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm really confused on it. Like, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that, like I say, they're not as well off as they are trying to portray. But like, that's just the sad part of it all. Like, I think it exposes a lot of parts of the industry that has been kind of faked. You know what I mean? And like, why do we have to live up to this expectation of like having a Rolls Royce and Gucci clothes and all these things as a rapper? Like to me, that's like the part of it that has gotten corrupted, and it even like it pushes on to like the younger artist or musician that's coming up. They think they have to live up to that expectation, and maybe we need a change. Like maybe there's artists out there that are waking up to the fact that like, hey, I'm not as rich, or I don't need to like try to portray this image anymore. And let's not scam people, and let's all figure this out together instead of like turning around. It doesn't need to be about the money. This is my point.
You really have two streams in the hip hop industry. You can see this really clearly. The Lil Pump and the 6ix9ine and all that, showing off money, rapping about, I don't know, bitches, drugs, sex, whatever. Just showing off on their Instagram with the big car, new sneakers, face tats, And then you have this stream of rappers like Logic, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. They are the bigger ones, but also smaller rappers like Low-Key or NF. He's a big rapper as well. Not caring about that at all. Just saying, I'm here to make real music. I don't care about ego or statistics or streams or numbers or money. I'm just here for the passion, for the music, and that's why I'm here. So I can imagine those people will not be able to pull off a scam because they're not drawn to that. They're honest people that do it for the music, and they're often smart about money as well because they already reflected in this weird rap industry because they are rich. They are really rich. It's hard to handle that. But if you see like Logic handling that really good and say, I'm gonna take off with music at the moment for a few years. I don't know if he's going to come back or not, but he's having a baby, and not getting lost in this big pool of nonsense in this rap industry. But then you have people like The Game doing it now as well. So it's really hard to draw that line anymore. Like who is real, who is fake. I thought The Game was real and talking about, his background and where he comes from and stating facts in his raps. And now he's being accused of scams as well. So it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think it's pointing out like the separation of the industry. Like, I think the industry itself, there's things that are going on in the background where they're like, this is the image and you have to look like that. You know what I mean? And then there's the other side that you're talking about, which is the NF and those type of people that are like, fuck you, I'm me, and I'm going to do what I feel is right in my heart, and they go against the industry. And maybe there's like some sort of pull happening right now where like it's being torn apart, and that could possibly be it. But like, I felt the same way as you, especially like Game was one of them. Royce 5'9", like I looked up to him, like he was my favorite rapper of all time. And like when I watched like some of the stuff they're doing, I was like, oh man, they're really trying to scam people by coattailing and using like sensitive subjects, and especially now in these times with the pandemic, and you're gonna like use mask and hand sanitizer to like really build businesses that you've never been involved in. I don't know, like when I see stuff like that, like it really shows your character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. In times of in hard times, like the pandemic, it's going to show who you really are. Are you going to turn to scamming because you lose some money, or are you going to drop an album and still be real? Like that's why NF is one of my favorite rappers ever. He's just so real to the bone. He raps about his fears, about his past, about his struggles, and even in this weird time, this pandemic, he still drops songs and just staying true to himself, and not caring about money or some money that's going away because they're not touring or whatever. Like, how egotistically can you be if you go do scamming when the touring goes away? Like, the whole world is in a pandemic. You know how many people lose their job and you're still rich, but now you're scamming because you don't have any live performances? Like, come on.
Yeah, it shows what's important to you in life, right? Like the money.
Exactly.
The money's more important than screwing somebody else's life over. Like, that's crazy. Like, we're all struggling. Everybody is. It's okay to struggle. In fact, you feel the most alive in the struggle. So, like, embrace it. You got a new problem, figure it out. Like, to me, I'm like, that should give you energy. Like, you got something you got to figure out and move forward on and continue to build on. Like, why not, like, think of it in a positive way,
Exactly. And with these messages you get with Instagram or Facebook or whatever, you kind of know straight away if they're legit or not. If they're really interested in you, they will say, hey, let's book a call, and we really like your music, and we may have some opportunities for you. Like, let's book a call next week, and we can discuss that, and we'll see from there. Like, then, okay, it's probably legit, and we can have that talk, and afterwards we'll see. But the scams usually start about budget right away. Hey, like, what's your budget? Like, how can you ask about budget if you don't know what you're going to do?
Yeah, you're so right.
In that interaction.
Are we back? Can you see me? Okay, we're back.
Yeah,
we're back.
Just cut those 30 seconds out.
It got a little choppy, so I'm sorry, folks, if we sound a little funny in this part of it, like the internet connection got a little funny. But you actually, from what I could tell, like, going off of what you were saying, like, what we could, how we could go on with this is like, how to pinpoint what a scam is and what isn't. So that's what you were kind of talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, here's a good thing that happened to me and how to, like, kind of figure out what's a scam and what's not. So after all these companies were hitting me up, like, I was definitely a little sketched out about it. And then ironically, in that same time, I got hit up by another company, but I got referenced. And the person that referenced me, I know personally. And so, like, right away, I'm like, okay, this is not a scam, obviously. The company directly used their name, said that I would be perfect for the job, and they actually referenced certain tracks that they liked of mine. So that's very obvious that they went in, like, listened to my stuff, and then they were referred by someone that I've worked with. That's pretty easy way to, like, pinpoint if it's not a scam, right? So if a company is just hitting you up randomly and they're not like talking about an actual track that they like from you, or a post, or like an email you may have sent or something, or being referred from somebody, and they are just wanting money from you, that's a scam. That's the way I see it.
True. And the fact that they start about money immediately, just think of the perspective of a label, for instance. If a label is going to hit you up, what are they going to do? They're not going to say, hey, I have $1 million for you, sign this. Of course not. They're going to call you. They're going to discuss the opportunities. So that's a big red flag. And I like the fact that you were saying in this pandemic time, it shows you what's really important to you. And if people turn to money and scams, I'm kind of losing my trust and faith in them as an artist. Because you're not doing it for the passion, but you're doing it for the external shit that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I know that we all got affected bad, but I mean, dude, your gym just closed, so you're basically losing your job for the most part. And we've all been affected badly by this. I know I was. My wife is still kind of dealing with it. My father got affected. Like, everyone I know of got affected in some sort of negative way. Right away, like, for me, it's just like, how can I try to at least make good out of this bad situation? That's the first thing I think of. And the second thing I think of is, like, how can I help other people that may be suffering? I'm not thinking, like, how could I take from them, And, like,
exactly.
That's the difference in mentality. It really is.
True. And I didn't lose my job, though. We got online classes, but it was a bit chaotic, but I'm all good financial wise. But I was grateful for the pandemic in a way as well. Of course, not for the horrible shit that happened, but I discovered Wim Hof due to pandemic. I had time on my hands. I started listening to podcasts, and especially in this time, it's important to work on your immune system and your happiness. So if the pandemic wouldn't have happened, I maybe have never had to discover Wim Hof or meditation or my spiritual awakening, all of that. So instead of nagging about it or bitching about the time we've lost, use that time to turn inwards, to go a level deeper in yourself and really decide for you what's really important. Because I had that. I had this feeling of gratitude. I was like, I'm so happy with my family and friends, but I never said to them that I love them. So I was like, I'm going to do it. Fuck that. So that whole pandemic of a few months being home was really good for me, actually.
Yeah, me too. Actually, all that exact same thing happened to me. I mean, to be perfectly honest, this has probably been one of my best years yet. I think, though, really, like you talked about it, you just said it, man. Like, you chose to, like, go and find Wim Hof and meditate and listen to podcasts and better yourself with the tools that you had. I mean, you can't go out and hang out with friends and those type of things are getting taken from you. Of course, that's like, it sucks. But like, you're like, you know what? I could still utilize this as positive time in my life. And you did that. You know, I did the same thing, and that's a choice.
For sure. And I had the same thing after 9 months. Like this week, the gym got closed again. So after 9 months of the pandemic, it felt like being back to zero again after 9 months. And the gym was closing, so no more training and no more classes or online classes. But it's not really fun for a coach to miss that interaction. But I said to myself, I felt really bad. I was like in a bad mood all day. I said to myself, I'm going to allow myself to feel bad all day. That's fine. It's okay to feel. Tomorrow when I wake up, I'm back to the positive. I'm just going to make it work. And that's what it was. I was feeling good. The next morning, I was like, I'm going to leave that behind me. It's all good. Like, let's go.
Yeah, you did just that, man. Like, you don't just, this is the best thing about you, dude, is like, I've been able to pinpoint these type of people in my life. And like, there's people that want to look the part, and then there's people that want to play the part. And you play the part, man. Like, you really, really do this to yourself. Like, you tell yourself, like, today, I'm in a pissed off mood. I'm going to just let it in. I'm going to accept it. And tomorrow, I'm going to kick it out of me. And you really, really do this. This isn't just words. And like, man, I deeply respect that, because like, how else are you going to deal with it? You know what I mean? Like, it's here. You can't change it. So change your response. And that's what you did. And it's amazing.
Exactly.
It's cool to see.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you pointing that out. And I also like this phrase of, you cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So to go back on these scams, even if you get scammed, which really sucks, if you get like $1,000, you pay for a beat or a feature and you don't get it, well, guess what? It's done. You cannot change it. What can you do? Choose how you deal with it. So move on. Don't blame yourself. Like, don't overjudge yourself. Move on, learn from it, and go work an extra 10 hours upcoming month to earn that $1,000 back, and you'll be back to normal, instead of being devastating all day and sitting in your sorrow. Like, that's not going to help you move forward. So
yeah. And some of us need to go through those lessons. Like, some of us could watch people screw themselves over and we would still go do it, even though we know it's going to screw ourselves over. That's all it is. It's like some of us have to experience that failure, and it's okay. Like, learn to let it go. Learn to take it in. I just learned how to not do it, and it's
exactly.
Okay.
And we can also learn from other people. So in the last podcast, you learned from me being all stressed out at midnight and working until 12 o'clock instead of meditating and leaving it, at rest and working on it the next morning. You saw that to me and you learned from that. So I always say a bad example is a good example of how you should not do it.
Yeah, I love that, dude. That's really good. It's really, really good. And, like, I'm going to go back to one thing, because I said that you lost your job, and I totally worded that wrong.
I didn't lose my job. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But yeah. This is really what I meant, because I was explaining this to my wife yesterday, is that, dude, this is why I love you so much. You're such a good person when it comes down to how you think of things. You don't care about the money. You're like, I want to be there coaching people. Like, you're there for the job. Like, that's what you love. That got taken from you. It's not the money.
Exactly.
You can't be there with the people. And like, Oh God, I don't even know how to put that into words. What type of person that is? Like, it just makes you just a good human all around, man. Like, you're not in it for the money ever. Like, you're in it for the love, and that's what I appreciate about you.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, and that's why we're drawn to each other because we have that same mindset. But I do want to point out though, it's easy to say for us or for me at least when you're in a good financial spot to say money is not important. Because then if you think about people that are in debt and you say that, you're like, shut up. Like I'm
Yeah.
working my ass off 80 hours a week to pay my bill and I have no time for anything else. So money is important. So it's really hard to draw that sketch of like, when is it important and when is it not? When you're in a bad place, you're more drawn to that, and which makes sense. So it's really easy for me to say, yeah, money is not important. But yeah.
It's very true, dude. That's very, very true. And that's wise of you to point out because there is people out there that are like, have like nothing, absolutely nothing. And like, what do you do in those situations? Like, I mean, I was there at one point in my life and I methodically cleaned things up piece by piece. And it took me many years to do that. But to think of myself back in square one and say the pandemic happened, I don't know how I would have reacted, to be honest. Like, like if I was in like a really bad spot financially, barely scraping by, I'm already behind on bills and in debt and lost my job. Sympathize with those people. Like, those are the people
Exactly.
we need to think about. Like, those are the ones that we need to keep in the forefront and try to like at least be sympathetic towards them. Like, I think of small businesses. We could go to that example that I used a couple of weeks ago. I went out with my brother and sister-in-law, and we were just doing some quick shopping. We decided that we're going to go to the mall, and we go there, and I'm telling you, there's thousands of people there. Like, there's no parking spots, and this is a big mall. Right away, I start to think of these small businesses and restaurants and, nail salons, hair cutting places, barbers. You could so many of these small businesses that have just been crushed. And those are all those are the entrepreneurs that like I relate to. I mean, that's me, man. Like, those people struggle. They work harder than you could ever possibly imagine. And they're the ones that build economies. And it's so sad to see that, like, they're the ones that are being affected the most by this.
Yeah, it's the same thing when I said money is not important. The same thing with the pandemic is the best thing that could have happened to me this year. Well, that is for me.
Yeah.
If you just open the gym and you go bankrupt and you are in debt, it's not the best year for you. So it's really about perspective and your position. You need to be a bit lucky, of course. But even then, even when everything goes to shit, it's still up to you how you deal with that. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it will be all right. Just try to keep that positive mindset.
Yeah.
And keep moving forward.
Yeah, we're all in our unique situations. And that's the thing about life is like comparing yourself to others is definitely dangerous. But like accepting the fact that we're all dealing with different things is probably the best thing you could do for your head. And I think that really like, man, I can only sympathize with the people that have just, like you said, opened up a gym and just put myself in their shoes of like, I just opened it up, a year ago, and my first 3 months did well. And then 9 months of it was a pandemic and got completely crushed and took all my savings, all my dreams just got flushed down the toilet. Like, where do I go from here? Like, yeah, I definitely like, those are the people that like, I really, really hope could pull out of this.
Yeah, me too. And in the Netherlands, we have a system where we get financial support. So even though you're out of business for 3 months, we get that support so you can keep going. But it's going to stop eventually, especially after 9 months. Like it's not going to be there forever. So that really sucks.
Yeah,
but to get back on that topic of money is not important, I think I would say that that's for people that are already wealthy and healthy. So if you're in a place where you have an okay job and you can buy food and you have a roof over your head and you have family and you can do your passions every day, like then it is, I would say money is not an important factor anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when it comes, money's tricky. Money's really, really tricky. And you and I talk about discipline a lot. Discipline should be the biggest thing you have in your finances because especially now, for example, say that you have lost half your income. Like, what do you do there? Well, you're going to have to look at all of your finances in detail, especially like how you eat, how you shop for clothes, and all these things. They're going to have to somehow be cut in half. And that's how I would think of it, is like, if my income got cut in half, I got to cut everything else in half. How am I going to do this? And you got to be smart about this. And like, there is a lot of people out there that aren't. They just continue living the same lifestyle that they had previously, even though everything has changed. And like, try not to lie to yourself in these moments. Like, try not to be the person that's going to be like, oh, everything's going to bounce back, so I'm going to just continue on the same way I've lived. If things change, you must change. And like you said, this is all based on the response, so just try to respond accordingly.
Exactly. And that's how it went with those scammers, I think, because the income stream changed up, but they kept living their life how they did in the past. Well, it's going to mess you up financially, because a stream of income disappeared, but you're still living your glamorous, rich lifestyle. Well, it's going to add up after a year. These big people like 50 Cent going bankrupt. Like, how can you even do that with that amount of money? Like, how are you going to make that happen? What if you're going to keep living your lifestyle like that and your income gets pulled out? Well, that's going to happen eventually. So it's also a result of how you live, especially with those scammers, at least in my eyes.
Most definitely. I think the wealthy are super corrupted in this aspect. They get so used to their lifestyle. They don't want to give it up. Like, your ego will not allow you to give it up. And like, that's not life.
They get entitled to their situation.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Maybe they should listen to Bob Marley a bit more. I love this line by Bob Marley. Like, some people are so poor, all they have is money.
Yeah, exactly, man. And he actually has some really cool things. I remember there's another interview of him where the person asked him, like, "Are you rich?" And he just responded with, like, "Rich in what? Rich in love? Yes." And he was just like, never, don't talk about money with me. It's not important. And it's not. It's just not. Like, this is like kind of the irony of like thinking like this. If you think money is the most important thing in life, you're never going to get it. But if it's not important to you, you'll get it. I don't know. I mean, it works. It really does. Like, you still have to like make other things that are important in life. Like, your like you say, your finances, like I talked about, you want to look at those. That's how you make more money, is like detail out your finances, right? You can make more money by detailing out your finances by not actually increasing your income. What you're doing is just saving money now and what you used to spend.
Cutting expenses. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, there's all kinds of ways to do this. And so like, yeah.
And that was the, something in the pandemic I was glad with. I wasn't spending anything. I wasn't going out with friends. Didn't go for drinks. Didn't go eating out. I was like, okay, this is one of the things I kind of like, is me cutting my expenses in this.
Yeah, totally. Actually, same thing happened to me, dude. I think we should probably like write out a list of all the good things that happen, because there's probably a whole lot.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, because there's probably a whole lot.
Yeah, my cousin did that as a coaching technique, which was really cool. When somebody is really bitching about their work, for instance, like, oh, I hate it and I worked a lot and I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. And you just say, okay, maybe you should just quit. If it sucks that badly, just quit your job and never come back. And it's like, then people are like, whoa, I'm not going to do that. It's like, why not? Well, I have friends over there and I like this part of my job. And I'm like, oh, so you do actually like your job.
Yeah.
So it's just this perspective change. So like you're saying, make a list with everything that worked out for you this year, or the things that made you happy or you're grateful for. I'm definitely going to do that and share it. We should do it together and share it on Instagram. That would be a dope idea.
Totally agree. And
like,
started. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The main thing about like when you write out things that are good that are happening, you can hyper focus on them instead of, like you said, gravitate towards the pessimistic side of your mind and be like, these things aren't working, that's not working. It's really easy to get negative there. Like, hyper focus on the good stuff. That gives you energy.
Exactly. And we should do this with a poll or anything. Just ask it in the stories, like, what are you grateful for this year? So people are going to think about that and what you say, hyper focus on that instead of all the annoying bullshit that's happening this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, even if like everything went wrong and you feel like it did, there's still something good there. There's still something good. And even if it's only 2 things, focus on those. You can build on it. Trust me, that list will grow to 4 to 6, and it just keep getting bigger.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is, even though on the short term, it may seem that you're basically fucked this year. Maybe on the long term, you're gonna look back and say that that's the most important thing that happened to me. I have an example, me being bullied in primary school. I was really being bullied. I was afraid to go to school every day, which sucks when you're 10 years old, right? That was probably the worst time of my life. But now looking back on it, I'm so happy that it went the way that it did. Because due to that, I discovered training. I discovered what the ego is. I discovered things in mindset. With training, I got into CrossFit and into work, and I opened up to a lot more. So maybe this may be true. If I didn't got bullied in primary school, maybe we would never have met because we are on the same page with mindset and music and training, you know. So that's a possibility. Just imagine that. So instead of writing off things that are bad, maybe look on them and say, maybe it's good that they happen over a long period of time.
That's why the struggle is good, man. Because that was your struggle at 10 years old, was dealing with this bully and figuring out how to manage it. That's your struggle, right? And in the time, you didn't know. You had no clue what the lesson was. But you know now. 10 years later, 11 years later, it blossomed into this. That exact same thing happened to me. I got bullied like crazy through school to a point where I'm like, I'm turning this around. I'm done with this. I'm going to face my problem. And I did. And, you know, it really, really blossomed me into this person that I am today, and you as well. And that was all through struggle. That was all through hardship.
Exactly. So for the people that maybe are listening right now and struggling really hard in this pandemic, just be patient. And maybe next year you're going to look back and think like, this is the best thing that happened to me. I find out what's important. I find out what I want to do and how to, make money with something that I love instead of just being in there for the business or whatever, whatever your lesson is.
Yeah, if it's so beyond hopeless for you right now, or at least you feel that way, and you feel like this is like, you're just never going to get out of this, trust me, something good is on the other end. It's coming. You're really close.
Exactly. And if you're in the darkest, most lowest spot in your life, remember, if you're on your lower spot, there is no lower than that. The only way after that is up. So
yeah, I love
that as well.
Yep, I love that mindset because that's how I always think. I'm like, handstands, for example. Like I'm like, this is gonna be my worst day today. I'm gonna be better tomorrow. So I put this in my head all the time. I'm always like, I'm just gonna get a little better tomorrow, and like this is gonna be my worst day. And I always think about it like that. I'm just getting over my worst day.
And that's what I like about emotions. I like the fact that I can get really sad. Why? Because the next time I'm really happy, I'm going to experience the happiness as well. I don't want to live a flat line throughout my whole life. I want to be down at the bottom because of a breakup or something idiotic has happened. And then the next day I can reflect on that and feel super happy when I'm with friends, and I can really feel that as well. So if you're a person that feels the sadness, you're also going to be a person that really feels the happiness when it's going to be there. So I really like that going up and down. There is no dark without light kind of concept.
Yeah, embrace those feelings too. You said it to me, man. Like that's when you feel the most. You know what I mean? Like we almost try to escape those feelings, but when you learn to like embrace them and take them in, that's when you feel the most, and you'll start to be like, oh wow, I'm feeling a lot inside right now. Just keep bringing it in, good or bad, doesn't matter.
For sure.
Yeah, it's you're most alive in those moments.
And what I learned as well is when somebody is crying, for instance, when we're having a conversation and you're coaching somebody and somebody is really crying, we often go to them and pat them on the shoulder like, oh, it's okay. Don't do that. Let them stay in that emotion because that's exactly where you want to be. That's where you're going to get the most done resolving wise or solving a problem. If you're going to pat it away like, oh, it's okay, it's not going to happen. If you're just going to stay in that emotion, just let them cry, it's fine. Afterwards, Of course, you can give them a hug. But during that process, just keep talking them through.
It's this is a kind of weird example, but it's almost the same. I think of kids, and you'll have like a mother or father that baby talks the kid. Like they come down to the kid's level and talk like them. Don't do that. Talk like you talk. Like try to talk, just how you and I would speak. You want the kid to listen to that. They'll rise to your level. You don't want to go down to theirs. You want them to rise up. Yeah. And that's, you really, really want to like do these type of things. Just what you said, when someone's crying, like you're going to like really get them to soak into that sorrow. This is time to get, like take those feelings in, let them feel it. Like don't go down to their level, lift them up.
Exactly. And it's also, it's a funny example, by the way, but people with pets, once they talk to their dog, like their voice changes. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, I know. My father's really bad at that. Hopefully he doesn't watch this one, but he's really bad at that. Like, thinks his dog is his kid or something.
yeah.
Yeah, man, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's kind of strange, very strange. But I'm guilty of it too. So I guess we're strange, man. We're strange humans.
When a pigeon comes by, you're like, hey, pigeon. What are you doing?
Start doing these baby whistles.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's important though. Like what you're talking about though, man, is like going, like don't ever bring yourself down to people's levels. Like try to lift them up. I think that's like so important. Like it would even be another example would be like, say a person is like, or for me, like I'm going to try to learn Dutch, right? I don't want you to like speak to me in like the broken Dutch, that I would be speaking in because I speak English, right? Like my accent would be all fucked up and all that. Like I want you to like speak to me exactly how you speak it. So I learn, you know what I mean? Like if you're coming down to my level, I'll never learn.
Exactly. And I'm always wondering what Dutch sound like to an English person. Like how would you describe that? Have you ever heard me speak Dutch, by the way? A couple of times, maybe?
Yeah, like it sounds super fast to me. Like super fast. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like you guys could talk that fast? And I'm sure you're speaking slow, but like, it just sounds super fast.
I have the same with Spanish. When I hear Spanish, I'm like, slow down, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it sounds like Twista or someone's like, or Eminem's like fucking talking to you, man. It's like, like you said, slow down. Like, what the hell did you just say to me? And like, it's because we don't understand any of it, man. We're just hearing the syllables. So I'm sure. I wonder if English sounds the same to them, in reverse.
I don't know. Could be. Do you know this song "Syllables" by Eminem?
Yeah.
The song kind of sucks. I don't know why, but
it sucks bad.
It's funny. Yeah, but I don't know. It's like the lineup is great. It's like who's on there? 50 Cent. Who else? Like great big rappers.
Isn't Snoop Dogg on it?
JC? No, I'm not sure. Even I don't know.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
How to murder a song with such a great lineup?
Yeah, no joke. How can you get like all these famous artists on one song and it sucks so bad? Leave that to Eminem, especially with his new stuff. Although, man, he's doing some like major work in production in the industry, which is really crazy.
But he is such a good producer. People underestimate that.
Yeah.
It's the same with Royce, by the way. The song "You Go and Learn" by Eminem and Royce, like he produced that one. Not a lot of people know that, but "Till I Collapse" was produced by Eminem himself. That's crazy. That's one of the sickest beats ever, and he did them by himself. So
yeah,
that goes kind of under the radar.
Right. Yeah, and like it's not talked about much. Everyone's like, "Where's Eminem?" Like he's doing a whole lot in the background. People just don't know.
Yeah. I'm always wondering this. So when people ask, "Who do you think the greatest rapper is?" they always say Eminem. Do you think he's the greatest rapper as well, or do you think people say that because he's just really famous and every time he drops an album, it goes number one?
Just think that's subjective, to be honest. Like I like lists and all, but like I think our lists are personal. So like, how would he be the best? You know what I mean? Like then we'd have to break that down in detail. Like I get all like crazy about these lists.
What's the definition of a good rapper, right? It's like
it's different for everyone.
True.
Like it could be cadence, it could be lyrics, it could be speed, it could be the beats they pick. Like so many different things. So like
emotion, energy, content. Are you reflecting on something like low key, or are you just having fun with words? It's just So who would you top 5 rappers be?
Definitely Eminem, but old Eminem. I don't really like his newer stuff. NF without a doubt. Nas. Gets really tricky in these areas because I absolutely love MGK, but he's kind of just like his own entity to me.
Yeah, true.
So
he deserves his own list.
He really does, man. Like he's just his own person. So like that's what I love about MGK. Royce the 5'9" is still going to stay in there because I really like his old stuff. And then Oh God, this is where it really gets tricky for me because like I like so much styles of rap that Twisted would probably have to be in there because just his style alone, like he's super unique to me, and there's really no one like him.
Cool. And for me, it changes over time as well. Like
Yeah.
my list a year ago is not going to be the same list next year. But
What
for
is
me,
it?
I've been really getting into Loki for the last year. He's such an intellect. He is so smart. He dropped his music for 4 years and just got his PhD in history. Like, if you hear him talking in interviews, like he's the smartest person in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, like
I really
dude,
like
some of the
it.
stuff you send of him to me, like I'm like, whoa, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, and he breaks down the whole system we live in. It's crazy. It's like his view on the world is really cool. And that's like if you compare it to Eminem, like one is not better, but Eminem, especially nowadays, he's really good in rhyming, like putting funny words together and having a good rhythm. But it's not really content. And then you take Loki, for instance, it's kind of the opposite, like content only. Or Immortal Technique, really like that example because Loki has content but can really rhyme significantly as well. If you look at his rhyme schemes, they're crazy.
Yeah.
By Immortal Technique, for instance, his rhyming is a bit more simple, but the things he's saying are awesome. So then you get back, of course, to the what is a good rapper and what's the definition of that. So,
Dude, like I can't believe I left this guy out, but Joyner Lucas. Oh my
oh
God,
yeah,
that
he's
guy is
crazy.
like,
So
holy shit, he is so good. Like, I think he's really taken the cake for like he's climbing in my top 5 and like into like the one or two at least for now like
Yeah.
listening to like because like his like you talked about the context like oh man it's so relevant and like so spot on. At least I agree with him.
that's really cool. He's a good rapper, and he can do both. He does have content and can send out a message, but he can also have fun with words and just rhyme and brag a bit about his life or whatever. He can do both. That's cool. But my list is going to be probably NF, of course. Just his energy, his emotions are crazy. Eminem has got to be in there. Loki for sure. And Machine Gun Kelly is going to be in there, but not necessarily as a rapper, but as as an overall musician. He can sing, he can rap, he can play guitar. I really enjoy his music, so he just got to be in there. And then number 5, I don't know, that's fucking hard. It's tough, man. Like I want to fit 1,000 people on spot number 5.
That's why these lists get so tricky. And you said an important thing. Like they change, man. Like especially in fighters. Like I hear these like goats getting tossed around. It's like wait until next year. There's gonna be some kid that like destroys this dude. Like how can you say greatest of all time? He was the greatest of that night. Is the way I like to
Exactly.
say. Like
Yeah.
this is one of the best songs I've heard. That's what I'll say. Those type of things. But
true.
there's always gonna be someone that takes that spot. So it's like so hard
True,
to like
true.
give him the title.
You know what kind of annoys me though in this whole rap game is the beef with Eminem and MGK annoyed the shit out of me.
Me too, man.
The songs were dope. I mean, I gotta give it to them. Not
Yeah.
alike, great song. Rap Devil, great song. Kill
Yes.
Shot, we can discuss about that, but not important for now. But what I hate is a beef is fun. It can just be straight up fun, just calling each other names, dissing each other. But now you get this whole war between the two audiences of those artists. I'm like, what's even happening? All these Eminem fans, they are still commenting on Machine Gun Kelly's videos. It's been 2 years, man. Like, get over it. Like, why are you still commenting on his? Just listen to him, or if you don't like him, don't listen to him. But don't start hating. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Eminem has a cult following. That's just what it is. Like MGK, I hope he knew what he was getting himself into because you're not only battling like one of the. I don't coin anybody greatest, but there has been no one on earth that has come close to beating Eminem in a battle. So like,
No, true.
you're battling that. Plus, you're going to battle his fans, and his fans are ruthless. Like cult
Yeah, man.
members, they are ruthless. And like you said, it's 2 years later. You're still not getting away from it. You're never going to live that down.
No, and what I kind of hate though is I don't know why this happened, but after the dissing, Machine Gun Kelly dropped Binge, which is probably his worst album of his whole career. Like I don't know if that's his label pushing or him being desperate, like I need to drop something now because I'm in the spotlight. But if he just
Yeah.
waited for a year and he would have dropped Hotel Diablo,
Yeah.
that would have Hotel Diablo is a great album. That will make such a difference. And then
Yeah,
now, of course, Tickets to My Downfall is great as well. Completely something else, which I really respect. But
Yeah, he messed up there. I think that that's where he dropped the ball. He probably could have captured a lot more fans if he would have waited a little bit. But he probably like you said, he got a little anxious, a little impatient. Dropped the album that was my least favorite by him by far.
yeah, me too.
I don't even
Me too.
listen to any songs on it, and that's not like me for MGK. So yeah,
I do like lately and local are cool though. But other than that, no, I'm not really.
yeah.
But and I listen to rock and metal as well, so I really like the fact that he dropped an pop punk album. Jesus, talking is hard. A pop punk album, and it kicked ass.
man.
Really good.
That I was
was really
blown away by that album, and I just beyond love it, man. I listen to it in the gym religiously. It is so good. It's like the old school '90s music mixed with today's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like hearing Blink 182
Yeah.
in a modern style kind of thing.
Exactly, man. That's who they were.
And and I think Machine Gun Kelly is gonna drop a fucking good hip hop album after this. I have this feeling. I don't know why, but like blowing everybody away with another hip hop album instead of a pop punk. But one thing I would like to see though is Eminem and NGK on a song. It's never gonna happen, but that would be the greatest thing ever.
You know, the one thing I got really disappointed about when it came to that whole dissing thing is Eminem kind of started it in a way, right? He released a song where he's dissing every rapper in the game. And so I don't think MGK was in it, but MGK coattailed it from a different situation. The thing I got upset about where I was like, how come he's not dissing Joyner Lucas? Why aren't you going after the people that could actually compete? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Joyner Lucas is on his album. I'm like, dude, you're finding all your competition and making them your team. This isn't fair. I think Joyner Lucas would be the only guy that would give him a run for his money. What do you think?
I don't know. I think he's able to because the Tory Lanez and Joyner beef was cool.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
I think he could actually. So I just said it with the Kill Shot, the song Kill Shot. Kill Shot had some great lines in there, but I think I didn't compare it to the energy of Rap Devil. So lyrically, I think Eminem can beat everybody, but song wise, I don't know. You have to come up with something dope as well.
I totally agree with you. I think MGK's song was way better, but let's face it, that was a battle. So, when it came to Eminem, he, it's his cadence and how he could write. It's he's really good at being a comedian on a song and making you laugh. And that's where Joyner Lucas would struggle. You're not going to beat him there because he's just going to take something that you've done in your life and then write a joke in a bar, and make everyone laugh. And that's how you really capture fans and win those battles.
And me as a rapper, I think I'm going to stay away from beefing just forever. The reason why is, your ego gets in the way again. Somebody says something bad about you and you want to respond and be the bigger man and blah, 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 blah. That's what I like about NF and Logic. Just say, screw it. If you're ever going to diss me, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to be me, rap about real shit. And if you're expecting a diss back, no, probably not. The only reason I would diss somebody if it's for fun. If I know a rapper that, hey, let's do a diss fun thing, just have a little competition, but I still respect you though. I'm not going to talk about your fucking daughter or whatever.
Yeah, I like that, man. Because really, hip-hop's pretty notorious for killing each other after these things, right? So it turns ugly.
Yeah, the Tupac Notorious Big is a good example of that, of course. They both got killed. Nobody knows what happened.
Well, and there's so much Pop Smoke. I know that was a beef inside it. I think it may have been his friend or something like that, but that was a beef. You could really go down a lot of these artists that have been shot and killed or whatever, and it was stemmed from some sort of beef that they had, and maybe it wasn't a battle rap, but it's
weird.
beefing. And why do that? It just nothing good comes from this. Like I said, friendly competition.
Oh, and this is one important thing to know as well for everybody in the industry. If I say I don't really like that song, it doesn't mean I hate you. There's a difference between not liking something and hating. I respect everybody. I respect all musicians, all genres. I don't really care. But if I say, now for instance, we are live on YouTube, of course, I probably I probably said something that will piss off Eminem fans, right? It's not about that. I'm not insulting anybody. It's just my opinion. Who cares about my opinion? It's just my subjective matter of listening to music. I may like one song better than the other. Like, this got nothing to do with you or even the person that makes it. It's just my subjective, like the projection of me. So if you get pissed, just don't. It's got nothing to do with you.
Yeah, unfortunately, like those are the people that love to say something too. You know, and if you are that person, you get offended. Try to understand that that's something you got to work on inside yourself. Like, you're gonna walk through life and encounter people with different views of you your entire life on a weekly basis,
Exactly.
and you're gonna have to learn how to deal with this. So you got to deal with it yourself. And if someone has a different view from you, the best thing to do is just not say anything. Like, just who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
And this is going to be a good topic for the next podcast. This is going to be our longest, Jesus, 52 minutes in. But we have a YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, and a TikTok channel, of course. And we were discussing this yesterday. Some person reacting on our Instagram, kind of hating and being disrespectful. And I was saying to Robert, like, that's the one person that gets angry, and that person is so aggravated that he's gonna take the energy to really stand. It was a big response. It was, I don't know, and it was like, for one person that hates and puts a comment, there are 100% that like it and get good info of that content, but they're not gonna respond. Only negative people are gonna do that. So just let's focus on the 100 people that like the video instead of that one person being negative. So that could be a cool subject for the next podcast, like how to handle negativity on the internet, how to deal with that whole response thing.
I agree. Well, we will do that. That's what we will cover.
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
If you're listening, of course, and if you're not listening, you're not hearing this, so this doesn't make any sense.
Well, and if you're not listening, you're missing out. So shame on you.
But they're not hearing this, so.
Well, we're gonna have to change that.
Punch it down their throat somehow, or our content.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, buddy.
All right.
Appreciate you. See you guys.
Later, Robert.